Liquidity ratio have two commonly ratios, which is current ratio and asset test ratio. From the calculation of current ratio, we can see that Hikmah Bati current ratio is 2 times lower than the industry average, which is 2.1 times, because they have a large amount of current asset and proportionately large amount of current liabilities. To improve ratio, the negotiated credit period should be as low as possible. For asset test ratio, the answer is 1.19 times, and we can conclude the asset test ratio is higher than the industry average, which is 0.9 times. To improve, the management needs to increase its liquidity position to promote cash sales.
For inventory turnover ratio, the answer will be 7.48 times. Meanwhile, the industry average is 6.5 times. The comment is the ratio is higher, which is 7.48 times compared to the industry average is 6.5 times. The higher the ratio, the faster the inventory is being sold. How to improve the ratio? Hikmat Bati Berhad has to do the stocking very efficiently. This is to avoid any overstocking problems to happen.
Next is average collection period. Hikmat Bati takes a longer time with 36 days to collect its receivable as compared to its competitors in the industry average, which is 35 days. To improve, Hikmat Bati may need to adopt a tighter collection policy. Non-current assets turnover is 2.5 times and the industry average is 2.0 times. We can conclude that the firm is utilizing its asset more efficiently than its competitors. To improve, Hikmat Bati Berhad should try to increase its production. Total assets turnover is 1.52 times and industry average is 1.6 times. To compare, the ratio indicates that the company is generating a lower total assets turnover than industry average. The company should try to increase its sales volume.
For debt ratio, the answer will be 30.36%. Meanwhile, the industry average is 40%. The comment is a debt ratio of 30.36% is lower than the industry average, which is 40%. The lower the ratio, the better it is, as it will reduce the potential losses that may occur. How to improve the ratio? Hikmat Bati Berhad should not take any additional debt. This helps to ensure that they can manage their debt repayments properly. Next, debt to equity ratio. The answer will be 58.62%. Meanwhile, the industry average is 60%. My comment is a debt to equity ratio is 58.62%, which is lower than the industry average of 60%. The lower the ratio, the better it is. How to improve? They has to restructure debt when the current market rates are low. This helps to decrease debt to equity ratio. Moreover, for times interest earned, the answer will be 7 times. Meanwhile, the industry average is 7 times too. My comment is the ratio is 7 times and it is the same as well for industry average. Thus, the lower the ratio, the better it is. How to improve the ratio? Hikmat Bati needs to increase earnings in order to improve the ratio.
Profitability ratio indicates how efficiently a company generates profit and value for shareholders. There are 5 ratios in profitability ratio. The first one is gross profit margin. The gross profit margin calculated is 42.35%. A ratio of 42.35% means that the company is making 0.4235 ringgit gross profit for every 1 ringgit of sales made. The higher the ratio, the better it is. To improve it, Hikmah Bati Berhad may need to review its pricing policy, reducing cost of sales by changing the supplier. Second, operating profit margin. Hikmat Bati is making 4.12% operating profit, which is lower than industry average. It shows that the company is incurring higher operating expenses. To improve it, the company can reduce cost of sales or operating expenses. Third, net profit margin for Hikmah Bati is 8.18%. Since the firm leverage is lower than industry average, its low net profit margin is basically due to higher operating expenses. To improve it, Hikmah Bati can increase their net margin by increasing revenue. Next, Hikmat Bati return on asset is 12.41%, which is higher than the industry average. The company can increase net income to improve ROA. Lastly, Hikmat Bati return on equity is 23.97%. They can use more financial leverage to improve ROE.
Earning for share for this company is RM0.03 0.03475 shares. Industry average is 0.28 ringgit. Hikmah Bati Berhad shareholders are getting 0.03475 for each share held in the company. A higher value indicates a higher profit per share and be preferred by the existing shareholders as well as potential investors. Dividend per share RM0.15. Industry average is RM0.14. It indicates the amount of dividend received by ordinary shareholders for each unit of ordinary share held. With regard to Hikmah Bati Berhad, the company is paying RM0.15 dividend per share to its existing ordinary shareholders. Hikmah Bati Berhad can simply increase the company's net profit out of which dividends are paid. Dividend payout ratio is 6.7%. Industry average is 30%. Dividend payout ratio indicates the proportion of earnings that is distributed as dividends to shareholders. The company distributes 6.7% of its earnings as dividend. Price earning ratio is 1.42 times. Industry average is 8.5 times. The higher the price earning ratio, the higher the investors' confidence, and vice versa. A price earning ratio lower than industry average reveals stock may be undervalued. The price to earning ratio is one of the most widely used tools by which investors and analysts determine a stock's relative valuation. Dividend yield is 4.68%, industry average is 5%. The ratio compares the dividend per share received by the shareholders with the current market share price. It can be used to indicate the return earned on shares by stocks with histories of increasing their dividend payments. While a future dividend payment is never guaranteed, companies that pay dividends follow the same patterns year over year. Based on the conclusion, we accept the loan application from Hikmah Bati